You've probably seen the clips of these movies on screen, or at least you've heard of them. The movies with iconic characters such as Kiki or Totoro displaying their adventures, or Chihiro desperately trying to save her parents. All of these movies were so enticing, but what made them enticing? Better question, who made them enticing? Miyazaki. Hayao Miyazaki. A manga artist, author, screenwriter, director, animator, and most importantly, a co-founder of the famous Studio Ghibli. Hayao Miyazaki was born on January 5th, 1941 in Tokyo, Japan. He was born to Katsuji and Dole Miyazaki. Miyazaki had 3 siblings, Arita, Yutaka, and Shiro Miyazaki. Katsuji was the owner of Miyazaki Airplane, a company which manufactured airplanes for Japan in World War II. He later indicated that he felt very bad about his family profiting off the war. Keep in mind he was born at the peak of World War II, so this affected him a lot as he grew up. Just when Miyazaki was a kid, he and his family had moved to a different city named Utsunomiya, for mainly 2 reasons, one being the bombing of Tokyo and another being that it was closer to the airplane company located in Kanuma City. Since his family made airplane parts, Miyazaki naturally fell in love with them and their designs. Another notable thing to know about Miyazaki and his family was that his mother was actually bedridden with tuberculosis from 1947 to 1955. This affected him a lot as well. Miyazaki took an early interest in cartoons and becoming a manga artist, but soon realized that he couldn't draw people, so he started drawing planes and ships. He went to college at Gakushima University in Tokyo and graduated with a degree in political science and economics. After that, he soon became an entry-level animator at Toei Animation. He picked up how to draw people and found it fun as well. He was able to impress his co-workers and came up with many storyboarding ideas. During his time working there, he zoomed through the ranks quickly and was very good at animating. He animated in shows like Okami Shonen Ken, which in translated to English is Wolf Boy Ken. 2 very important people he met at Toei were Isao Takahata and Akemi Oda. Isao was his friend until the end of Isao's life, and Akemi is his wife, which he married in 1965. They have 2 children now. In August of 1971, he left Toei and joined Isao to help him make the failed animated feature of Pippi Longstockings. In June of 1973, he moved over to Zooey Pictures, where he got to design scenes for Heidi, Girl of the Alps. But around that time, he had been a very well-established animator and background scene artist. Throughout the 1970s, while he was working on television and movie animation, he was also making manga, which is basically Japanese comic books. In the year of 1973, Miyazaki's first movie that was directed by him was called Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro, came out as well. By the 1980s, big things were coming for Miyazaki as he was working on his manga series named Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which appeared every month on a magazine, quickly becoming very popular. In 1982, Miyazaki and Takahata both worked on the Takuma production company to make Nausicaa an animated feature. They started to work on it in 1983, and a year later, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind was released. It showed a hatred for war and fighting, in which it reflected Miyazaki's childhood, and the film was not even a smash hit, but it was very popular, so came the birth of Studio Ghibli. Ghibli is pronounced like Ghibli, and it means dry Saharan wind in Italian. It also is the name of a World War I aircraft. Many films came after that, one of them being Castle in the Sky, but a Welsh mining town and 2 orphans meeting. It again showed how much technology could be abused and cause mass destruction, just like in Nausicaa. It also exhibited Miyazaki's love for flying and his deep care for nature. 1988 was a big year for Studio Ghibli as well, as when My Neighbor Totoro came out, and it was almost the death of Studio Ghibli. It came out with Isao Takahata's Grave of Fireflies. My Neighbor Totoro was a kids' movie, and it displayed a small reference to Mei and Satsuki's mom being bedridden and sick, just like Miyazaki's own mom, and also having forests similar to the one that he grew up in. Grave of Fireflies, on the other hand, was a story of misery, mourning, and death. It was a terrible pair to come out together, but it was saved with Miyazaki coming out with the idea of selling toys and figures based on My Neighbor Totoro, and it worked. In 1989, Witch's Delivery Service, or Kiki's Delivery Service, got international attention. The movie was about a witch's coming-of-age story in an era where World War II never happened and she's just trying to settle into a new town. In 1992, Porco Rosso came out, and this movie perfectly exhibited Miyazaki's love for airplanes. The movie was about a World War I sea pilot who was cursed with a pig's face. The planes were based on actual planes in the 1920s, and in my opinion, one of the best scenes being the airplane heaven scene was shown as well. All of these movies had just been set up for Princess Mononoke. Miyazaki was actually criticized when making this movie because no one thought that his company would do it. It was released in 1997 and it was a smash hit. It surpassed movies like E.T. and set records in grossing over $150 million. It broke Japan's box office records. The story was about a warrior trying to get rid of his curse and meeting powerful people like Princess Mononoke, who is literally the phrase one with nature, and Lady Eboshi, a powerful woman who is very destructive. On top of that, he created Spirited Away in 2001. It is just as good. It has 58 awards and in my opinion is one of the best animated movies to watch, no matter how old you are. In 2003, Miyazaki came out with Howl's Moving Castle. The movie showed lots of hate towards war with all of the anti-war themes. He actually made the movie about his distaste towards the Iraq War and also purposely wanted it to be as not much of a hit in the US. I myself love the movie though, and it is one of my favorites. Another interesting movie came out in 2013 called The Wind Rises, a fictional biographical movie about Jiro Hirikoshi and his life and how he made planes. To give some background, Jiro Hirikoshi was the chief engineer of one of the main airplanes Japan used in World War II, the Mitsubishi A6M0. It showed his love for airplanes and the war he lived through. So many of the movies he has made has reflected on many small and big parts about his own life and even historical people and events. What I'm trying to show is, well, the title, The Man Behind the Movies, how his life has impacted his movies and me, and so many other people who have watched or enjoyed his movies. I've met many people who look differently at the way they see things after watching some of his movies, which I found very interesting. Thank you for listening.